Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I am just continuing on with my Kringle Candle Halloween 2025 post-burn reviews. In this video, I'm going to share a post-burn review of the Spellbound collection Sacred Protections fragrance. Before we get into the jar, the label, the fragrance, the crystals, all of that information, I do actually have an update regarding the launch of the Kringle Spellbound collection. So we're going to go ahead and chat about that first, and then we'll get into the review here. So the Spellbound collection is still launching on August 15th at noon Eastern, which is 9 a.m. Pacific time here. These are 16-ounce 2-wick jars. This is a new jar for Kringle Candle. And originally these were going to be priced at $30. And Kringle went ahead and, after some initial feedback from customers, they decided to lower the price to these candles to $25, which I think was a very good decision. Aesthetically, I think that most people were not really drawn to this particular candle jar, and I can totally see that. I can totally respect it. I will say the candles have been burning great in these jars, but are they as aesthetically pleasing as what normally comes out from Kringle Candle? Not really. They are a little bit more basic, and I think Kringle heard the feedback and they decided to go ahead and lower the price for the launch. So I do appreciate them doing that. I don't know if it's enough to, encourage people to try these. I'm not sure we're going to have a ton of sellouts in this collection, and it might be that you are able to pick these fragrances up at a discounted price in the future. So I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on the sellout with this particular collection, because there might be a couple. I will say there's a few fragrances that I really, really love, and they really are amazing and they're performing great. But yeah, if you don't like the aesthetics of the candle, then obviously that's something to consider. So anyway, for what it's worth, we got a $5 price drop on these. They're still launching on the same day and at the same time as the Boo Crew collection. So I will have Kringle linked at the very top of the description box. If you do want to purchase any of these, you can use my discount code Melanie15. That'll save you 15% off of your purchase, or if you have some rewards, apply those rewards. Save yourself a little bit of extra money. So anyway, the candles are not going to be available on the website until the launch. So you can certainly click on the link now, but they're not going to be there until the launch actually happens. I will be doing a reminder on both my Instagram stories as well as my YouTube community tab, reminding you guys of the launch on Friday. And yeah, happy shopping if you choose to partake. But without further ado, let's dive into the Sacred Protections fragrance and talk about this, what I think could actually be a really amazing holiday scent. And not Halloween, not that holiday. I'm talking Christmas. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Before we get into the actual fragrance itself, I want to give you guys an up-close look at the candle and the label. Now, these particular labels are painted onto the jar, if that makes sense. So I'm going to zoom you in here really quickly and allow that camera to focus. All right, good. I have some spray paint on my finger, so sorry about that. It's just some black spray paint. I had to do some stuff for work this morning. But anyway, so taking a look at the label here, you're going to see that in certain places the label is a little bit more worn. I do believe that that is actually intentional. all of my Spellbound candles have a little bit of that wear, if you will, on the label. I think it's meant to make the label look a little worn, a little older. So anyway, but it is indeed painted onto the jar. Now they have a label on the front of the jar as well as on the back. And again, this is a 16-ounce tumbler. On the back of each of the candles, there is a chant. I will go ahead and read you the chant for each of these. I find them all to be pretty positive. I don't know. I don't feel like I get any negative vibes from these at all. But obviously, I don't think this particular collection is going to be for everybody. But let's go ahead and read this chant here. Circle strong, I now ignite, guard my soul with sacred light. No shadow lingers, no fear may stay. This flame keeps all ill will away. From unseen harm and spoken curse, shield my space for better, not worse. So anyway, that is the chant for the sacred protections. Let's go ahead and turn it back around. Let's zoom out a little bit and let's talk about this fragrance. So here's the thing about this one. Man, I think this would be a great Christmas candle. This really is a beautiful outdoorsy holiday tree scent. By the way, the crystals that come embedded into the wax when you first purchase the candles, I take all of mine out. I have them downstairs in a little bud vase. I just collect them each year now. In fact, in one of my future reviews, I'll remember to go down and grab it, and I'll show you in one of the other videos. But the crystal that you're getting with Sacred Protections is obsidian, so it's a black crystal. Let's go ahead and read through the fragrance notes here. At the top for Sacred Protections, we have evergreen and aldehydic. The mid notes are cedarwood, fir needle, sage, and wood. At the base, we have incense, amber, wood smoke, and balsam. So, like I said, this definitely reminds me of a holiday tree or Christmas tree type of scent. It is fresh and outdoorsy. It's not like a warm, cozy indoor Christmas tree scent. It is definitely a little bit more outdoorsy. So let's start at the top here. Is there an evergreen note? Absolutely. There is a really heavy, slightly earthy evergreen note. Evergreen always smells a little bit more earthy, or like it's got a little bit of like, almost like dirt, like wet dirt mixed in with that tree note, if that makes sense. And you definitely get that here, which I think is what gives it a lot of that outdoorsy vibe. The aldehydic note, I think, just gives a little bit of freshness and crispness to this particular fragrance. Again, lending to it smelling more outdoorsy and fresh versus warm, cozy indoor tree. The cedarwood, yes, you smell a very distinct cedarwood. You smell a very distinct fir tree note. I don't actually get any sage here. And the wood note that's mentioned, I mean, outside of like the fir, the evergreen, the balsam, which we're going to be talking about here in a minute, I don't smell any other type of tree note. Like I don't get a mahogany, I don't get an oak, I don't get a driftwood, I don't get a sandalwood. None of that is mixed in here. But at the base, we have the incense, the amber, the wood smoke, and the balsam. Yes, there is a tiny bit of like an incensey vibe for sure. But I think that incense and that wood smoke that's listed are kind of blending together for me a little bit. So the wood smoke that I'm smelling kind of smells a little bit like a liquid smoke that's mixed with like just a very generic like incense that you might smell in like a church or something. I like that liquid smoke mixed with that incense note. I think it's really nice. I do get just a tiny bit of amber here. It just adds a little bit of a sweet, almost resinous vibe. And then the balsam, yeah, there's also just a very distinct like balsam tree note as well. So you've got the evergreen, you've got the fir, you've got the cedarwood, you've got the balsam, and they're all very fresh, very cool, very outdoorsy. Yeah. honestly, like I think they should recycle this fragrance. I think it should come back around with some kind of, you know, Christmas holiday packaging, and I bet it would sell quite well. This is a nice fragrance, and I'm a little bummed that it's probably not gonna get the love that it deserves, because I don't know how many people are interested in this particular collection this go around. So yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer because it is a lovely fragrance. I really like it a lot, you guys. I normally tend to gravitate towards the more warm, sweet, indoorsy, cozy holiday tree fragrances, but this is one that's just done really well. Like for an outdoorsy tree scent, this is, it's chef's kiss. So great fragrance, the strength and the throw. Okay, so slightly different format here, obviously. I do think that this, in terms of strength, comes off as a pretty solid 7. The throw I would probably put at right about a 7 as well. The wicks, I've been struggling a little bit with the wicks because I've been a little lazy when I've been trimming. Instead of getting out my cuticle scissors, I've just been using my, like, you know, my thumb and my forefinger to pinch off the carbon balls. And I think I'm just getting a little too much of the wick. And so this one here is actually kind of like, I would call this struggling compared to how it burned before I messed the wicks up. So this particular fragrance will form carbon balls on the tops of the wicks. You'll just need to trim that very top carbon ball or mushroom top off. You don't need much more than that. And as long as you're careful, I've had a really solid burn on these. I mean, are they taking over my entire house? No. You know, are they significantly stronger than the Kringle 2-wick tumblers? No. I would consider them probably right around the same performance in terms of strength and throw. So yeah, they're a little shorter, they're a little squattier, slightly wider for sure. There is a slightly wider opening, but in terms of the performance, they do very much for me perform like the typical 2-wick tumblers. So nice clean burn, just need to be careful with those wicks. Let's take an overhead view here so that you guys can see. This one actually has not completely pulled out yet. It will, it'll be fine. It'll correct itself, but I definitely need to watch my trimming. But there you guys go. You can see nice clean burn for sure. The wicks, what I might do is just try to fish a little bit of that wax out with a paper towel. The way to do that is just roll your paper towel and then stick one end of it into the wax, obviously after you've extinguished the candle, and the paper towel will kind of wick up a little bit of that extra wax, and usually just getting out a little bit will correct it. So anyway, there's a look at the top of the candle. So I'd love to know if any of you are interested in the Spellbound collection and which of the fragrances you're most excited about. So let me know down below. There is at least one more review coming a little bit later on today. And then we're just gonna keep going for the next few days with all of these post-burn in-depth reviews. Hopefully they are helpful in terms of helping you decide if you want any of these candles, what you want, quantities. There are no limited quantities on the Spellbound collection, so if you want to order multiples of those, you are certainly welcome to do that, but there is the limit on the Boo Crew of 1 per. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, I appreciate you guys being here. Give this video a big fat thumbs up if you found it helpful. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in a little bit for the next review. Take care. Toodaloo.